All right, guys, so let's go over some more P theorem. Something that always comes up is you will be asked to identify whether three numbers, the side lengths of a triangle, are a right triangle. Well, when you're given three numbers like 2, 12, and 4, the first thing you want to do is figure out which one has got to be your hypotenuse, and it's got to be the long one. Down here with 10, 6, and 8, of course, 10 has got to be the long side. So you put in your calculator hypotenuse squared. Then on the next line, you put leg squared plus leg squared. If these two numbers here are different, it is not a right triangle. If the two numbers are the same, it is. You just have to make sure that your hypotenuse squared is on one line and leg squared plus leg squared is on the next line. Okay, let's try a couple of examples. It says, given the sides of different triangles, which one could be a right triangle? First thing I do, where are my longest sides? So I pick the biggest number in each group so that I don't make a silly mistake and not have that by itself. So I'm going to do 10 squared on one line and then my leg squared. So 8 squared plus 6 squared on the second line, and those two numbers match. So definitely this is going to be my right triangle. But you know what? I don't trust myself. I am going to check. Why? Because I want to do the best I absolutely can. So I'm going to put in these numbers here. And you know what? This one is also a right triangle. You know what that tells me? I read the directions wrong. It said which one could not be a right triangle. I am not going to redo this video because I want you to see that if you don't read carefully, you can make a mistake, just like I did. Oh boy. So now I'm going to try 15 squared, and then the legs are 10 and 12. Those do not match. So that is the one that is not a right triangle. C is definitely my answer. I'm so glad that I kept checking and realized I'd made a mistake. And let's go ahead and check the last one. 13, just to make sure. And the legs are 12 and 5. And those match as well. So those would be a right triangle. So C is not a right triangle. So please don't make the mistake I did and read carefully. Read more than once. Use your audio. All right, which right triangle is a right triangle? So this time I'm going to try to get it right. First thing I'm going to do is find my hypotenuse. Well, this one's the longest. This one's the longest. This one's the longest, and I wouldn't rely on my pictures. I'd make sure to check. They might try to fool you. All right, let's try that first one. 9.4, and we're going to square that. And then I'm going to do leg squared, which is 6.4 squared, plus 7.1 squared. Did those match? They did not. So that's out, because we do want a right triangle this time. So I'm going to make my hypotenuse for B 9.7. And I'm going to make my two sides 6.5. Oops, I got to fix that one. 6.5 squared and 7.2 squared. Ah, those match. This is going to be my answer, but you know what? I'm going to make sure because I don't want to make a mistake because I've already made one of those. So 8.4 squared. I'm doing C now. I'm going to do 5.2 squared and 6.3 squared. Those do not match, so that is not a right triangle. And finally, I'm going to do the last one. 5.1 squared and 7.3 squared, and those don't match either. So this time I got the answer right. Make sure you're careful, okay, guys?